Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with today's Timeless Tarot for September the 11th of 2025, but this is a Timeless Tarot reading, so whenever you find it is exactly when it was meant to find you. We will be pulling 8 cards from the Divine Feminine, 8 cards from the Divine Masculine, in accordance with the 8 human chakras, and walking the path of the tarot, so that we can get a better understanding of how best to manifest our highest timeline in accordance with Spirit. I've already done a pre-shuffle, but I like to get a couple more just to make sure everything is exactly where it needs to be. And now we will begin pulling with the base. And in the base, we have Justice in reverse. In the Sacral, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. And in the Solar Plexus, we have the Two of Swords, Heavy Swords energy. In the Heart, we have the Hermit. In the Throat, we have the Empress. In the third eye, we have the Moon in reverse. And in the crown, we have the Sun. That is a lot of major arcana. There are some heavy things hitting today. We will be saving the last card, the 8th, for the end of the read. Next, we will pull cards from the Divine Masculine deck. The Divine Feminine, the cards that are already on the table, lets us know what the current energies are, the current situation. The Divine Masculine lets us know what steps and actions that we can take to best manifest our highest timeline in accordance with Spirit. And I'm going to take the opportunity to let you know that I am considering doing personal readings. If that is something that interests you, drop it in the box down below so that I can gauge the interest. And now that we have done our shuffle, we will begin pulling in the crown. And in the crown, you have Death. Very, very interesting. In the third eye, we have the King of Cups. That is a significant change. In the throat, we have the Page of Wands. In the heart, we have the Nine of Pentacles. In the solar plexus, we have the Nine of Swords. Both of those in reverse. In the sacral, we have the Magician in reverse. And in the base, we have the Empress again. And we will save the 8th card from the Divine for the end of the read. But let me know what you think that these cards may be at any point. Drop it in the box down below when we are doing the review, or even right now. And let me know what you believe that the Divine current situation and actions that can be taken on the next path of the progress, or the next step in the path of progress. And so, let's see what the cards are telling us today as we walk the path of tarot. We begin with the realization there is a path. This is hopes and fears. This is either what you believe may come true or that you fear might come true. Neither one is particularly good, and the balance between the two is faith. This is the realization that there is a path, right? Now, you've got the Sun. This is the 4th day that this has come out. This is in a very providential spot, right? This is hopes and fears. The Sun does not represent a fear, right? If it is in the reverse, it might, but upright, it does not. This is one of the most positive cards in the entire deck. The only card that is more positive than the Sun is the World, because it is the culmination of all the paths. You have learned all the lessons. And the only time you really do that is when you get to the other side. This is Divine Providence shown in the Sun. Divine Providence shown by the sunflowers. Divine Providence shown by the white horse of victory or assistance. And Divine Providence shown by the baby riding the horse of victory into the future. This is a brand new start, right? The baby signifies a brand new start. Underneath Divine Providence, right? This is in the hopes spot, right? This is what you are hoping to come true. This is the Divine talking to you. You feel responsibility for this area. This is how you interpret the Divine message. This is the Sun. This is the positivity. This is all of the good things in a brand new, fresh start. And that is going to be reiterated, right? With the actions that can be taken is death. Now, what do you mean that's positive, Pitt? This is positive as well. I'm going to explain that to you. First off, this is going to be a 13 card, and a 13 card is about overcoming obstacles, right? This is the equivalent, not the equivalent, the clarifier for the Knight of Swords. And swords are about thoughts. This is the thought area. It is tangentially related. But this is, or no, not the Knight, the Queen, right? This is the Queen of Swords, which you have. And so this is giving the appropriate energy to reach the harvest, right? The very end of the path, right before the final harvest comes in for swords. What we see here is that he is riding his white horse of divine providence, either victory or assistance, into the future. Underneath his feet is the old system, the Emperor. He is lying here, dead, because he has been defeated by death, who is raising his banner high, walking into the future and being celebrated as such. This is a brand new beginning. It does signify the end of something, right? But the end of something brings the beginning of something new every single time. When there is a harvest, there is a decision to be made about what to do with those things. Right? This is giving the appropriate energy to reach the harvest. It is not planting your garden. It is not harvesting your garden. It is instead weeding, watering, and fertilizing. Making sure that you are giving the appropriate energy to reach the appropriate harvest. This is a brand new start in your brand new start spot, right? The realization of the path. This is the representative of the ace. This is the presentation of a brand new path, and it is hope in your hope spot, signifying the start of something new. Today is the beginning. This is the beginning of something new in your life. Welcome. Have fun. Next we go to decisions, and this is going to reiterate, right? Next we go to decisions, and this is sloth and diligence. Are you working towards your goals? Do you just expect your goals to work out? They will not work out if you do not put effort into them. This is where you envision your future. Oh, the balance between sloth and diligence is going to be patience, taking the time to do it correctly. This is a decision that you need to make about your future. This is how you envision your future with your third eye. This is an intuition spot. Now, what do you have here that you need to make a decision about today? Change. Embracing change or not. This is the moon, and what's the number on this? This is going to be an 18, and an 18 is going to be understanding. This is going to be the clarifier for the Page of Cups, which you might have. No, you got the Page of Wands. Okay. Oh, you got the King of Cups. Okay. And so what does this signify? This is the sun and the moon, right? Many people only see this as the moon, but I do not, because these rays coming off of that signifies the sun in every other card, right? And you also have the moon being signified by the crescent in here. This can signify an eclipse. We just had one. There are more coming. It might be that the eclipse was when it actually started happening. But what we see is this is overseeing. That is divine providence. You have the two towers that represents light and dark always. There is a path that runs in between them, and on either side of the path is a wolf and a dog. That is the bestial nature of man and the domestic nature of man. You are supposed to walk the path in between. And then all the way down here at the bottom, you can barely make it out, but there is a crawfish coming out of the waters, coming out of his comfort zone and embracing change. The moon is about change. It is divine providence as well. It is the divine feminine is the expression of the moon. And so there can be some divine feminine energy here. This is presented in the reverse, which indicates that the change is either not going to happen or is already happening, right? It is currently unfolding or is about to, right? This would actually be it is currently unfolding, right? This would be you are making the decision about change right now. This is you making the decision about change maybe in a couple of days. Maybe when you get the full understanding of what is going on, but it is happening, right? You are making a decision. Change is unfolding whether you're ready for it or not. This might be that you are not quite ready for the change, but it is still happening. And we can tell that the change is happening because you have the King of Cups. Now, yesterday, if you were here for the collective reading yesterday, there was a lot of an emotional decision. There was something that needed to be discussed. It has, right? apparently that has resolved itself in some way or another, because this is the harvest, right? The king represents the final harvest for the suit. The 7 is the initial harvest, and then you begin the path of higher understanding. This is the end of the path of higher understanding relating to some change that is possibly about to undergo in your life, right? This is the harvest, which is the final completion. This is the divine masculine, fully matured and making emotionally responsible choices. If it is the King of Pentacles, it is financially secured choices. If it is the King of Swords, it is thoughts that are thought out correctly, right? This is making the appropriate choice with the appropriate energy in the appropriate way around an emotional situation, which is you making a choice around change brings the harvest, right? You are bringing the harvest to bring the change. And so this is you making a choice about change and an emotional situation, bringing that to an end, right? We have had a repeating, there is an emotional thing. This is the end of it. This puts an end to it. Now we go to communications. Lessons, right? You see the path, there's a choice to make, and once you make the choice, I'm going to walk this path or I'm not, both are valid, there is lessons to be learned. If it's a new path, you got new things to learn. If it's the old path, there are new things to learn about the old path. There is always something to learn. This is the area that deals with pride and humility. Pride is taking too much credit for your work. Humility is giving away too much credit for your work, and neither one is good. The appropriate response would be thankfulness, giving away as much credit as you can, but taking it where appropriate. This is the area of communications. It can deal with other people. The giving of humility is suborning yourself for other people through communication. And so this is a communication area. It might be related. Today, it doesn't appear to be too related. This is a lesson to learn, right? We have a 3, that is learning. This is the 3rd spot in the path of the tarot. It is about learning, so you have a lesson in your lesson spot. This is a lesson about provision. The 3 of the major arcana is going to be the equivalent, not the equivalent, the clarifier for the 10 of Pentacles, which is generational provision. What we see here is that this woman represents the divine feminine, not fully matured, right? She is still a teenager. She's still a little bit jealous. She's still a little bit tied up into looks. She still makes some maybe financially irresponsible decisions. Once you are on the path of higher provision, you will almost certainly make some decisions that are not appropriate, right? You will buy some things that are not necessarily needed in your life. That is a natural reflex from being deprived for a while. That is the energy that she gives. But this is provision. The lesson that she is learning is being provided for, possibly for the first time, in an abundant way, right? Not just making your bills and squeaking by, but being able to make financial decisions that do not include, do I pay the water bill or do I buy groceries, right? This is financial provision, learning a lesson about financial provision by maturing your nurturative energy. She is an immature divine feminine, which is the nurturative energy. And so this is going to be developing the divine maturity in the feminine way. And how do you do that? What is the steps that can be taken? We got the Page of Wands. Pages are about understanding. Once you have a lesson, you understand what it is, and then you can rise to meet the challenges. But until you reach the understanding, you are not ready for the challenges that may arise. There is still something left to learn and then understand. The lesson is coming, right? This is currently unfolding. There is abundance unfolding in your life right now that is overwhelmingly decided here. Like overwhelmingly, there is provision, right? This is reaching that understanding. Wands are spirit, fire, life, light, logos, intuition, and change. And so this can indicate that you are having an intuitive understanding around the provision. It is in the area of communication, so it might be related to communicating about that with somebody. It might require you to be in a spirit of thankfulness, not pride, not humility, but being thankful for the things that you are receiving. That would be an understanding about pride and humility. Being thankful for the things that you have opens the door for more things to come in. It really does. The things that you focus on are the things that multiply in your life. So if you are focusing upon being thankful, you will get more things to be thankful for. That is a cosmic law. It is one of the 8 laws of creation. This is you coming to an understanding, an intuitive understanding even, about provision. Next, we go to understanding. Once you have the lesson, you get the understanding, you can rise to meet the challenge. This is the area that it's your core self, right? It ties together the as below and the as above, but it is also interpersonal relationships because it is tied to greed and charity. Greed is loving the things of the mortal coil just a little bit too much. Charity is loving the things of the mortal coil not quite enough. You are supposed to do both, and the balance between greed and charity is generosity, giving appropriately to better serve, right? And so this can be interpersonal relationships, or it can be your core self. Now, you've got the Hermit. The Hermit is going to be a 9 card. You have a double 9 here. All right, so a 9 is going to be a choice. This is a choice about your core self, about whether you are going to be isolated or not. Right? This is the Spirit of Isolation card. What we see here is that this Hermit has gone to the top of the mountain in order to attain the enlightenment which he now possesses. And he is standing on the edge of the mountain holding his light up for everyone to see. But they have to come up the mountain in order to see him. He's not going down the mountain to find him. But you have a choice to make. This is your core being tied to interpersonal relationships in a core level. One of the main signifiers of greed and charity, it's not about money. It is about time, because money is only in exchange for time. You work your time for this money so that you can exchange this money for someone else's time. And so if you are being greedy with money, you're also being greedy with time. And if you're being greedy with time, that is isolation. You have a decision to make. And that decision is tied to your generosity and your spirit of isolation. You got a decision to make that is imminent. It is unfolding in your life. It is around this isolation. Make it. And I say make it because you have the 9 of Pentacles. That is another choice. 9s are choices. But this is a choice about the provisionary path. Pentacles are provision. Do you have a home? Do you have a job? Do you have money? Do you have food? Are you provided for? This is making a choice about the provisionary path. It is in the reverse, which means that you, right, this is you, hey, go out, make this choice. This is you, hey, this choice is coming to you. This is something that is going to present itself to you. There is a choice around isolation and provision that is coming to you. You need to be in a spirit of thankfulness and generosity if you are wanting to receive, right? Now you have the ability to choose either way. You can stay isolated. You can come out of isolation. But the choice is yours. This is a choice about provision. It may or may not be the dependent part on whether the spiritual stuff unfolds. It is your core being. In the reverse, however, it is not you going and seeking the choice. It is allowing the choice to come to you. And it is. Next, we go to challenges. All right, once you have an understanding, it's time to rise to meet the challenge so that you can take a rest before the harvest. This is the area that deals with gluttony and denial, the overconsumption of things, the underconsumption of things. Neither one is good. Moderation is the key. This is the area that represents the trials that may be facing you, the things that you need to rise to meet. And you have a choice to make. Another choice. This is a hard choice, right? This is a choice around a thought or a communication, but probably a thought. Swords represent soul. They are thought and intellect. They are also combat and communications. This is the communication spot. It is tied as the part of the right-hand path. This is directional, or this is amplification. But this is not necessarily making a choice about this path. Right? This is a hard decision that you are making around an idea. It could be communication, but it's probably not. It appears that the communication has already happened. Right? Whatever the communication was for the last couple of days that needed to happen, it happened. Right? And so this is you making a decision going forward, maybe a little bit blindly. There is an intuitive leap indicated, an intuitive understanding. She is blindfolded, sitting in front of the waters of life upon the land. She is holding the two swords underneath an eclipse. That's just a crescent moon. That's not an eclipse. And so this represents making a hard choice, right? Maybe you do not have all of the information. That is why she is blindfolded. And any misstep, if you are blindfolded with a sword, can result in grievous injury. That's why it's a hard choice. This is you making a choice. It is challenging. And it is reiterated. You want to know what it's reiterated with? This is the Nine of Swords. What's a 9? A 9 is a choice. This challenge is a choice, and a choice around an idea, and an idea. Oh boy. This is the PTSD card. This is past regrets, right? I call it the PTSD card because once upon a time, PTSD was not about what happened to you. It was how you reacted to it. And what we see here is that these 9 victories are keeping this man up at night. He is not happy about it. He has been on the path of combat. It could be communication combat. It could be physical combat. It could just be intellectual combat. It is thoughts. But these thoughts are his, and they are keeping him up at night. He is not pleased. He is not happy. He has a decision to make about this path that he is upon. Now, this is in reverse for you. This is past regrets, and when it presents itself, it is you making an emotional choice about your path of intellect, thought, or communications, even combat. This is a challenge that you have a choice about, and it is your thoughts, right? This is a hard decision about your thoughts. This is a regretful decision. But maybe you don't have the regrets, or there is no need to regret. It is in the reverse. If this is you making a choice about an idea and feeling regretful, this is you making a choice about an idea and not being regretful. The choice that you make will most likely be the right one. You are being presented with a choice, right? You got a double 9, and then you got a 2 and a 9. That is a choice. This is a path in multiple ways, right? This is a path, this is a path, and this is a path. And so these are linked. There is a choice. It might be with communications. It might be with nurturing. It might be with envisioning the future. Probably all of them. The core is a decision. Your challenge is a decision about your ideas, about the ideas. Next, we go to the nurturing, the overcoming, and the growth. This is physical generation. These are the things you want to create, right? You envision your future, empower your future, take steps towards it. You see the business, you speak it aloud, you start taking steps. You get the funding, you write the business plan, you secure the location. This can be children. It is dealing with lust and chastity, the giving away of physical affection, the not receiving of physical affection. Neither one is intrinsically good in itself. sacred union would be the balance thereof. But it's not necessarily restricted to that. This is interpersonal relationships across here, so it might have to deal with another person. But this one is probably you today. What we have is the Queen of Swords, and we briefly hit what that would be, but the Queen is given the appropriate energy to receive the appropriate harvest. She represents overcoming, growth, and nurturing, right? Weeding, watering, and fertilizing your crops so that you can reach the final step. This is a nurture card in the nurture spot. This is an overcome card in the overcome spot. This is probably significant. What we see here is her seeing clearly for the first time. She has her sword of discernment. She is facing into the future, seated upon her throne of authority. And the clouds are coming down. They are breaking. She is able to see clearly for the first time. She is giving the appropriate divine feminine energy to get to the harvest. This is the appropriate energy. This is the divine feminine fully matured. Like the king is the divine masculine fully matured. This is her making the appropriate choices about the thoughts by giving nurturing energy because she has overcome and she is growing. This is in the reverse, which can indicate you do not have all of the information, but you are still to act in a nurturing energy, but there is a little bit of this divine feminine immaturity here. This is a path, right? Across here is communicating your desires, empowering your desires, creating your desires. And so this is you in the divine feminine, a little bit immature, maybe not seeing quite clearly. This is the divine feminine being provided for, learning a lesson. And so these are presented in a path on the opposite side, in opposite orientation. They may be related. They're not the same card, so it's not a direct relation. But this Queen of Swords is also connected to this choice, both by this path and by this path, which you do have the Empress again. That is a reiteration. And yeah, this is giving the appropriate energy, but maybe it's not nurturing, right? If it was in the upright, this is you giving the nurturing energy to get there. Maybe this is you taking yourself into consideration a little bit more, taking your thoughts. It does appear, right, it is related to this too. Both of them are making, right, both of them have the swords. This one is blindfolded. This one is seeing clearly for the first time in reverse. And so that can indicate that there is some information that you do not have, but you still need to make the decision. And clarifying this Queen of Swords with some steps that you can take is assuming your authority. Now, this is in the reverse, but this is the Magician. This is the first step on the path of the tarot. The Fool is the guy that walks the path and he makes the decision, or he sees the path, right? That one is the realization that the path is there. He is seeing that there is the possibility of becoming the Magician. This is the clarifier for the Eight of Pentacles. It is the path of higher provision. And the path of higher provision begins with assuming authority for yourself and others. That is what the Magician is doing. He has infinite possibilities over his head. He is raising his athame. He is pointed to the as below. He has all of the instruments of magic arrayed upon his altar. He is fully equipped, ready to go out and do, assuming his authority. But you got it in the reverse, which may indicate you're missing some of the tools, right? If he has all of the tools, maybe you are missing it. It is still the path being presented. It is still magicianship, assuming authority, but it is less of the energy, right? If this is go out and assume your authority, this is the authority is coming to you, right? And maybe there is something that you are missing, some information that you are not seeing clearly, which will allow you to assume this authority. But it's got to come to you. You can't go to it. Next, we go to provision. This is the end of the first path. This is the final, or not the final provision. This is the last step before you see the higher path of provision. This is the area of love and wrath, which is giving away affection. That's the thing that creates us. And it is not receiving the affection, the thing that can break us apart. And the balance is kindness, giving the appropriate affection in the appropriate way. You've got justice in the reverse, and this was yesterday. We had this as well, right? What we see here is that he is seated upon his throne of authority. He has his sword. Now, this sword is discernment, thoughts, and ideas. He has a balance in his hand right here, and that balance in his hand is giving equal justice. Not paying attention to one side or the other, but merely doing what the law requires. Perfect distribution of the energies, right? Not playing favorites. That's what this is. This is also an 11, and an 11 is going to be understanding. Now, that is the same as the page, right? And so what we have here is the clarifier for the page of swords, right? Which is an understanding around an idea. This is in the upright, in the current situation. This is you being justice, right? And that would mean that you are making the appropriate decisions without playing favorites. This is in the reverse, which is you making the appropriate choices, giving the understanding or not, but with more consideration for one side or the other. That side is going to be you, right? It is probably not the other people. That is not indicated here. There is something that you are missing. There is some key that you are not seeing, but it's not going to hold you back from this, right? This is you making the decision, maybe without all of the information. But what do we have? Learning about provision in your provisionary path in abundance. This is the Empress, reiterated, not in a path, so it's not a direct correlation. But whenever two cards come out that are the same, that is Spirit saying, hey, fucker, listen. Well, I probably shouldn't have cussed, right? That's knocking on your head, being like, hey, pay attention to this. This is the provision on a higher level and learning the lessons thereof. And the lessons are generosity, right? Appropriateness, thankfulness, moderation, doing things correctly. And so this justice is not playing out correctly right now in your life. This is provision coming into your life and you learning the lesson. Maybe that is you're giving the energy, the money in the wrong way, right? If this is not justice being done correctly, but instead with favor towards one side or the other, and this is provision and learning a lesson, maybe the lesson is that you need to be a little bit more stingy. Maybe you are giving away a little bit too much, and you need to recompensate towards yourself. All right. Next, we're going to go to the divine. This is a direct message from the divine to you. It is not colored by any of the virtues and the vices. The divine has all the virtues and vices in perfect balance. This is the presentation of the higher path. This is what the divine is trying to tell you. And did you leave your guess what this would be? I'm going to make mine now. In consideration of everything else that is on the deck, this is going to be a 2, right? This is a choice. Now, what that choice may be, actually, this active card is probably going to be the choice. This is probably going to be Tower, right? It may be a reiteration of death, the end to the new, the bringing in of the old, or the end of the old, bringing into the new. It might be an understanding card. There's a lot less of that energy. It's probably going to be change. Currently unfolding in your life, you got change. This can be seen as change. This can be seen as change. So let's see. The Page of Cups, coming to an understanding about an emotional situation in a negative flexion. It is in reverse. And so what we are seeing here, right? This page is understanding. Pages are about understanding. It is cups. It is about an emotion. There is still something about an emotion to understand, but it is in the reverse. This is giving understanding by communicating. He is talking to this little fish in the cup. Talk therapy is a way to get the understanding about emotions, right? Specifically about emotions. And so this is an understanding about emotions, maybe through communication, but you have it in the reverse, which can indicate that you are not to give the understanding, or that the understanding is coming in a slower way, right? That is a possibility here. There are some things that you do not see. But this is coming to an understanding about an emotional situation in a negative flexion in your current situation, which means that it is coming to you. You're not going to it. And maybe you are to give not the understanding, right? And the divine masculine is the Knight of Pentacles, rising to meet the challenge of the provisionary path by allowing it to come to you. And this is in the reverse. Knights are the challenge card. They are rising to meet the challenge because you now have the understanding. It is the next step past the page. Pentacles are about provision, so it is the provisionary path. And so this is you not rushing into the future, right? He is sitting still, but he is facing the future. He is contemplating the world to make the appropriate choices about the path of provision. Now, this is the understanding of the path of provision. This is you not in a current understanding of the path of provision. There is the path of provision unlocking itself for you if you make the appropriate choices and you are learning the lesson. But this is you not having it, right? This is the challenge in a negative flexion, which means you're not to ride out to meet the challenge, that the challenge will come to you. This is the challenge of provision. There is an understanding that needs to happen around provision, some learning that you are picking up by being provided for the first time. That is the lesson in your lesson spot. That is the provision in your provision spot. Okay. And so this is you rising to meet the challenge by continuing in the path that you were upon, not riding forward, right? Now, this can be meeting the challenge quickly, right? If this is not, the horse is not moving, that is slow energy. This would be quicker energy. But in consideration of these two cards, right? Let's get it right there. Right there. All right. So, in consideration of these two cards and everything else that is on the deck, what are we looking at today? There is an emotional understanding, maybe through communication, that you are to reach. This is an understanding. You're not to go out and seek it. It is coming to you. It might be a little bit slow rolling, but it is coming. This is an emotional understanding, and you are to rise to meet the challenge by letting the challenge come to you about provision. Now, this may be a self-limiting belief that you need to bring an end to, right? You do have this regret card in the reverse about a decision to make that is a challenge. And so this emotional understanding can be you coming to the understanding that you do not already have an understanding, right? You may think that you have your emotions under control, and instead you are just suppressing them and you're not using them. That is not correct. You are meant to use your emotions. They are there for a purpose. And so this appears to be you coming to an understanding. It is in the reverse by rising to meet the challenge, by letting the challenge come to you on the provisionary path. Overall, this appears, right, you have a choice to make. That is an imperative. That choice is how you are going to interact with other people. It is related to your thoughts, and you may not have all of the information. Choose anyway. Trust your intuition. Understand that your intuition is guiding you towards your higher path if that is what you are seeking, right? You have to be seeking it to find it. But if you are seeking the higher path, this is saying that there is provision coming. This is saying that if you make these core decisions, this core decision about isolation, you will be provided for abundantly, right? Like, look at this. Just look at just one more time. Let's just look at it, right? Your core is this isolation card and this choice about provision. You have the culmination of provision and change slowly unfolding in your life. You have provision because of an understanding of change. You have provision by something old ending. You have provision by an equitable distribution not being made, right? Giving the energy towards yourself. You have provision through nurturing your own thoughts. And you have, this is the only not provision in your path, right? You have at least one provision card in every single step, except this one, where your challenge lies. And that is making a choice about your thoughts. You might want to get that in order. That's going to bring us to the end of the read. And if you like what I'm doing over here, let me know down below. Give me a like, a share, a follow. Throw me a comment whether you agree or disagree with anything that was stated. Put it in the box down below. And if it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. If you really like what I'm doing over here, hit me with that super thanks. Consider joining for a membership or picking up a copy of my book where I teach you to do magic responsibly. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt State. Peace.